We good?
Let's get into it, Dan.
Let's do it. Here we go. Dance Like a Podcast, episode 48. William, recording on Saturday. How about us?
Big time. No rest for us.
How about us, baby? All right, how about this? Warm up. So it is 2021, William, and there's a big emphasis on learning. You're a teacher. It's important to learn new concepts. We've talked about this before a million times, but I believe that the capacity to unlearn in 2021 and moving forward will be more important than actually learning new skills themselves. Things are changing so quickly, from technology to social norms to the efficacy of how we actually get information into our heads. Getting stuff out will be important than getting stuff in. Or am I wrong on learning?
Yeah, I think the only place you might be wrong here, in general I agree, but if you think about unlearning as kind of like that's kind of like the backup plan if you've learned the wrong thing.
Right.
And so maybe we could think a bit more proactive in terms of the process of what to learn, right? So having a better process for choosing what to learn. Although granted, sometimes big changes warrant just a complete reevaluation of what you've learned, so that might be more of what you're talking about here.
Right, I think it's a little bit of, and to be fair, I totally stole this concept from you. Who you stole it from someone else, but what is plagiarism these days? Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, it's going back to the idea of, I guess, learning with a framework over, like concepts over tactics, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if you're learning guitar or if you're learning a new sport, you can memorize the notes of a song in guitar or something like that, but do you really know what's happening? Do you know like the actual underlying chords and reasons why those notes go together? I think we need to put more of an emphasis on that over just like kind of the memorization. Even though I do want folks to be diving in when it comes to what I call mimicry.
What about truly understanding something, but you don't have the vocabulary or framework to explain it, like a true, like maybe just like a true prodigy in music, for example. They can play like crazy, but they can't express how they know it. How's that fit in?
I think there's a few and far between those outliers, but
True,
yeah, you definitely find those in almost every industry, right? So folks that can just kind of do something and not really explain it to the layman like myself. So anyway, unlearning. Let's get it 2021.
All right, Dan. This might be hard to guess what I'm talking about here, but here's the situation. You have a famous player for a generic sports team, and team has been successful, and famous player leaves, goes to a new team. His old team flounders. New team is getting some success. And a lot of people say, oh well, obviously this player's the reason why. So what's the logical fallacy there?
This one hurts to hear. We got the Super Bowl coming up tomorrow. My boy Tom Brady, my old friend, my fellow New England quarterback. Definitely not talking about him. But yeah, the fallacy would be, I don't know the exact name for it, but it would be something to do with not taking everything into consideration, only focusing on one particular, part of the whole.
Yeah, it's called it's not a cause for a cause. So it's like to say something caused something else. That's like takes a lot to prove, and especially for something like an entire team's success, it's hard to. It definitely probably. I mean, it almost certainly had an impact, but yeah, it's hard to say that it was the one and only reason, which is kind of like how our brains have to process it because we can't juggle all these other variables at the same time. So
yeah, no, it's tough. Why can't our brains just like step up? Like, come on, have more nuance in their brain to get stuff in. Yeah, what is so it's post hoc? Is it just a simple post hoc? Ergo,
yeah, pretty much.
Proctor? Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, I think you see this. Well, folks always need to find a reason for something, a story to explain why things happen, and causation is the number one way. And you need the blame game, and it's weird. Why do we need that? I think that could be a software update too. It's like sometimes things just happen.
I think it'd be funny to see like what if the current I of course wasn't talking about Tom Brady, but if we're talking about it now, think about what if like the Buccaneers had all this potential that Tom Brady was actually holding them back. So what if they would have been better without him this year?
Hey man, I like that take. Let's go with it, man. Yeah, it's a good take on the Super Bowl Sunday, man. Brady's actually holding the Bucs back. Okay. Speaking of folks who can do something for a really long period of time and the ability to be consistent with it, exploring this concept here, maybe it's more of a tip around longevity and the concept of I guess attractiveness. I think that the concept is that it's attractive not that a man can or someone can play the guitar very well, but it's attractive that they can delay the gratification to get really good at that thing.
Yeah. So I think I like this idea a lot. It makes me think of signaling. So like costly signaling. So think of the signaling in and of itself doesn't have to be something that's inherently useful. So like, playing a guitar is not going to get you more food inherently or more, anything like that inherently, but it might signal to other people that you have a capacity for, you have the resources to develop a skill, and that might be attractive to a potential mate because you're signaling that you have the time and resources to devote to that, and therefore you probably have the time and resources to devote to offspring as well. So.
Interesting. It's not a virtue signal. What kind of signal would that be? It's just kind of a general.
It's called a costly signal. So it's like the peacock's feathers, where the peacock is basically signaling, look at me, I have all these resources to produce beautiful feathers.
I'm healthy. Yeah, I'm healthy.
Yeah. I have excess resources. That's what peacocks are telling the female peacocks.
Right.
Is there, female, was it pea roosters? I don't know what the female, probably not peacock, right?
Pea roosters? I don't know, man. I am not sure.
Peahens. I bet peahen. Sorry, peahen. That's probably the term there, right?
My avian knowledge isn't the best, but yeah, I think that's not necessarily just with like attracting mates, but I guess just like if you have the capacity to dedicate yourself to one thing for a consistent period of time, you're more likely to get others to invest in you for other endeavors too, be it professional or otherwise, or like just a good way to show that you're reliable and dependable and can commit to something. So
well, I think also just independence is an attractive feature, like having independent passions that are not dependent on someone else. I think that's right. That's what a lot of people. And maybe we'll talk about that later. Let's bring back the blimp first. So, Dan, when blimps first started, when blimps were getting big, we didn't have modern materials, and so they filled it with hydrogen, explosive, bad idea. And the material was made of animal intestines, super bad for the environment. Had to kill hundreds of thousands of animals just to make a blimp. Crazy, right? We should bring back blimps.
Blimps are hot in the streets. We need more of them. I wish there were like 100 blimps above the city every weekend. This is an interesting one. I wasn't exactly sure where you were going with it. We told you about the pre-show. But yeah, tell me maybe a little more about what the blimp represents. I'm listening. I think that they're fun. You get them in a golf tournament. You get them the Goodyear blimp. It's a fun word to say blimp. I like saying the word. Maybe we can incorporate that more into the normal vernacular.
Yeah. So here are a couple things. So I think you remember me talking about how the cross country train idea, right?
I love your ideas, man. I love your segment for ideas, man.
So one of my favorite parts of flying anywhere is you get to look out the window and just see, what a crazy view. I think it'd be cool to spend a longer period of time in the air. I think that's just like an inherently cool experience. And I think
Yeah.
if that were safe, semi-affordable, and easy to access, I think a lot of people would do that.
So these are blimps for consumer travel. So like,
Yeah, it's fun. And it's about the
little Saturday afternoon, family gathering. Hey, let's hit the blimp. It's
yeah, it's about the journey, not the destination necessarily. It's like, hey, kind of about the train things. Like, yeah, you're going to be working as you go from A to B, but you get to do it, in an interesting way.
Interesting.
In your free time, you're doing some cool stuff. So.
When you're in the blimp, it's filled with air, right, or some sort of hydrogen. So where do the people go? They just go on that little bottom thing.
No, well, so that's the there's a lot of
A lot of
it's funny
technology
because all the designs
blimps.
all the designs for blimps basically just like died in the 30s and 40s.
Really?
But yeah,
Wow.
with modern materials and technology, Dan, there are a lot of different
A lot of different design options for the blimp.
Yeah, I mean it's basically like a kind of like a structure inside the blimp. So there's like it's kind of like a cruise ship. Think of it that way.
Oh God.
Think of it that way.
Well, I was sold once you got in the cruise ship. I don't know about like an airborne.
Yeah, probably
cruise
not as large. Not as many
Okay.
people.
ship. Yeah.
I mean, size-wise, probably similar size, but
More spread apart. I like that. Okay. Another pitch for Will. Where is Will wrong? Bringing back all these awesome things. That's great, man. That's great. Hey, I heard a rumor going around. Did you hear the rumor?
tell me.
I heard there was going to be a potential name change for Dan and Slicka podcast after episode 50.
Oh yeah, you wanted to talk about this. Okay.
What's happening there? What's happening?
I think we got
just a big internet rumor. We're buzzing all over Twitter, all over the
Okay.
internet scape.
So Dan, my only stipulation is that it has to be we have to have a first principled approach to our decision. So like what are the guiding principles for this name that we would be happy with? Like we want a name that embodies this aspect, and I think we should figure out what characteristics in the name we want, and then we can go looking for it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm listening.
So
I mean, I've already pitched you.
I like kind
pitched
of
you on a couple name changes. I've pitched you on a couple name changes before.
Yeah. I like the So I was just thinking about kind of what this kind of experiment we've been. I think experiment's the right word for it. What this experiment we've been doing is, and for me at least, it's been kind of like accountable, thought-provoking, first thought conversations, right? And so I don't know. I think it could be seen in a couple different ways. I feel like what a lot of people who listen to podcasts, they like listening to these other people talk, and then they don't really know how to have those same sorts of conversations with people in their lives.